So today there was another terrorist attack on London Bridge. 3 men with 12-inch knives stabbed pedestrians after mowing down up to 20 people. And recent witness reports are saying that the men were yelling, "This is for Allah." Just last week, I was walking on the streets of London with a friend of mine, telling him in a half-serious, half-joking tone that I worry about trucks of peace when walking in London. And of course, he turned to me and he said something along the lines of, "Lauren, I wouldn't worry about it. It's much better here in London than most places in Europe, so you'll be fine. Not something to worry about." And we continued walking, but I couldn't get this thing out of the back of my head where I was just paying extra attention when I was in crowds. I had an extra eye out on the road near me. And that night, after we hung out, the Manchester attack happened. And only a week later, the very streets of the City of London that I was walking on with my friend while making this comment about trucks of peace was attacked by just that. On the bus yesterday, the man I was sitting beside lost a friend in the Bataclan theater attack. A woman I spoke to this week as well had a friend's daughter at the Ariana Grande concert. The young men and activists I was spending time with in France last month had walked and seen the blood on the pavement of their French brothers and sisters in Nice. And if people truly believe that today's plague of terrorism is not going to impact their lives at some point, they're sorely mistaken, because I can assure you that the degrees of separation are going to close in every single day as you sit on your hands and make excuses for this barbarism. It's not going to be a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend next time. It's going to be a friend. After the Manchester attack, I posted a tweet in a moment just being filled with utter disgust and sorrow and hate over the death of a young 8-year-old girl. And some guy replied to me saying, "Now you have a tiny slice of how Muslim nations feel. What is one little explosion between friends? You like to dish it out but not take it?" Yeah, you know what? Not that it really matters, but I'm not actually for intervention in the Middle East. And you know who else probably wasn't for it? The young 8-year-old girl who died. She couldn't even vote, let alone bomb another nation. And sick people are still trying to come up with excuses like this for why innocent people deserve to die. And they're trying to make this something about foreign intervention or about Western racism or how we live in a patriarchal, racist, white supremacist society. Or I've even seen this one in the papers, how terrorists have difficult lives, so it's not their fault. Well, you know what? A lot of people have difficult lives. And if terrorist attacks pervading the Western world today really are entirely the fault of foreign policy and we deserve it, then how the hell do liberals explain the Christians being killed every single day by Islamic terrorists in the Middle East? Just last week, 28 Christians in Egypt were killed by a terrorist in a bus while they were on their way to a monastery to pray. They sure as hell are not the West. They sure as hell are not American soldiers or even on European soil. There is a sickness within Islam, and I have no more words for it because I don't even know what to tweet anymore. I've been so desensitized to this senseless murder like much of the rest of the world, apparently. Every single comment that I could possibly make about the devastating state of our world has had its opportunity to be said just over the last year, to be said over and over and over again. What more proof can liberals possibly need that we have a problem? Kids are pulling blood and guts out of their hair. Men and women are being run down in the streets. Priests are being beheaded. Families are being blown to bits. Young girls and boys are being kidnapped and sold to be raped and abused in a first world country, the UK. And concert goers are having their eyes gouged out in France. And what does the government and the mainstream media tell us? France is going to have to learn to live with terrorism. London Mayor Sadiq Khan says terrorism is just part and parcel of living in a big city. And major media outlets tell us to solve terrorism by turning a blind eye and carrying on as usual. And great, midway through filming this video, there has been a second attack. Breaking, second attack in Borough Market in London, hashtag London Bridge. Reports of heavy gunfire. There are people dying right now on the streets of London, and if people try to oppose this carnage, if they try to oppose the Islamic extremism and mass migration that is causing this, they are potentially put behind bars like Tommy Robinson. They're arrested for hate speech and have their homes destroyed like many right-wing dissidents in Europe. Or if you're a group like Generation Identity that tries to peacefully protest against these horrors, you're branded an extremist by both the left-wing and right-wing media, who are both into virtue signaling now, apparently. It's sick, so people are left to do nothing but make hashtags. Hashtag don't let the hate win. Hashtag religion of peace. Hashtag not all Muslims. Or hashtag I stand with blank, whatever city has the people's blood spilt across the pavement next. Just throw that in there and it'll solve the problem, apparently. Seriously, ask yourself this, liberals. Is virtue signaling your tolerance really more valuable than the lives of those who cannot afford your expensive security patrolled condo? Or politicians, your 24-hour security and armored cars? Is your guest spot at Slate really more important than the future of Western civilization? Hashtags are not going to stop those blind with hatred for the West. The only thing that will stop this is if we put an end to the government-mandated mixing of incompatible civilizations and the importation of value systems that are hostile to ours. That is the only solution, whether you like it or not, or whether you find it bigoted or offensive or not. If you want people to stop dying in the streets, you have to do something other than change your profile picture. And liberals, the longer you keep quiet and sit and watch the maimed bodies of your fellow men and women being carried away, the more you make yourself complicit in the agenda of those who seek to tear our culture apart from the inside. These horrors are not going to be worlds away for long, and they are not going to be stories on the internet or videos on Twitter for long. This is going to become a reality for everyone if we do not solve this problem. And don't tell me I let hate win because I am angry with the senseless slaughter of innocent people. Hate won on the streets of London today when we did nothing to stop it.